Good afternoon. Welcome to my Toyota Supra project. This is just kind of the beginning of the filming anyways. I've got a 1988 Toyota Supra that I bought at auction. I've always enjoyed the Supra. I think they're fantastic. I saw it and I was like, I have to have it. So I've jumped in. At this point, I've pulled the engine, the transmission, and so most of the parts are right here. Let me show you the car real quick. So this guy basically had a blown engine when I got it. The bearing on number 5 was spun, and so that was why I pulled the engine out. Plus I just wanted to do it. Got some of the extra parts. You can see that I put new pistons in the engine. This is the wiring harness, and then I just have some parts that I've painted and cleaned up. These are extra parts up here in case I mess something up or make a mistake. Highly possible, but just kind of giving the overview. This is what it looks like when it starts. I got a little bit of a plan for the valve cover gasket, so I've started working on those. Now to the fun stuff. The head has been completely reworked. Took it to Texas Engine Machine with Jeff Wynn in Llano, and he straightened the top, decked the bottom, went completely through it. It's like a brand new head. On the engine, he did the same. And I can set up on this bad boy. So this guy is 0.75 over on the pistons. So they were, it had been bored before, and it was at 0.5, so it's at 0.75, a little bit larger. And on the bottom end, the journals have all been ground down, and so the bearings are oversized. So it's been completely redone. He's got a machine, and I can't remember the number, but it's pretty fantastic in terms of the way that it actually fits the bearings to the journals and make sure that everything is actually perfect. And the day that we did the boring, he actually, I went out to the shop and I was hanging out with him, and he measured each individual piston and made the cylinders or the bore size to match each piston. This is my spare. Actually, it's not really spare. It might end up getting used as a spare, but this is my next project that has just come in over here, and I just figure as I get going on this, it's going to get a little bit easier. It looks like the head's already in pretty good shape on this one. Of course, I have to pull the caps off to actually be able to see it, so we'll see how that goes. I do have a couple of questions for you guys. Number one is in terms of the coil on plug. There's, I want to do the modifications to this that are just to where it can be the best engine that it can be. I know that the feeder tube for where the oil pump is, it's kind of crushed and it's routed a little bit funky, so I'm going to put the stainless steel, and I believe that's an 8AN stainless steel tube that goes on the bottom. I've already shimmed the oil pump just about as soon as I do this pipe, ready to put the bottom on. One thing that I will say that I've learned a couple things on this, and number one is whenever you deck the block on this engine, make sure that you take the timing cover, and just not to belabor the point, but I'll show you that real quick. The timing cover has a bit of an overlay on so this surface right here lines up with the block, and the head actually sits, I don't know how I'm lined up, actually sits right here. And so if you deck the head and then you don't actually grind this piece down, then there's a step, and that's obviously a real issue that'll create a head gasket leak. And so that's one of the things that I've learned in this process. I want to do the coil and plug I'm interested in the front facing intake. I'm not really going to turbocharge this one. I want this to be a good solid 300,000 mile engine. I think that a lot of times, obviously the head gasket issue was from the factory. It was not torqued tight enough. I'm using ARP studs on this, and I've got the whole kit, all new gaskets, all the way through, front, back, all of it. And so I'm fixing that, but the front-facing intake looks like it's actually pretty interesting, and I've not seen a good source on that. So if you guys have any information for in terms of the coil on plug, and are there instructions? Is there a particular conversion kit? If so, how to connect those? Because there's literally 4 wires coming out of the distributor, and obviously I need to be able to connect that up back to the ECU. I just need to know how to do that properly, and just want to be accurate on it. And I had one more question, but really any suggestions that you've got. It's been treated really, really well. Got a bunch of, everything is exactly torqued, and it's been thread lock and everything in all the appropriate spots. And so the way that I'm putting it together, it should be just as good as it possibly can be. And so if you have any input on that, let me know, and I will do little updates and keep you up to date as it goes. Thanks for checking it out. Have a good day.